I came across this online the other day, and now Steve has put it into the chat. Um, what is this all about? This Iron Buckeye.
Yeah, those are guys that the strength coach, Mickey Maraudi, and his staff have identified as the leaders, the hardest workers, and the guys who really made tremendous strides in strength and conditioning during the spring and the summer. The hardest workers, the best leaders, the best examples. And they really put these type of players on a pedestal within this program, and these 7 guys were named as the Iron Buckeyes, which is very interesting to look at it. They Coach Day yesterday talked about how they rate each guy as red, yellow, or blue, maybe something like that. And
red, green, and blue.
Red, green, and blue. You want to be green's acceptable. Red's what you want to be. Iron Buckeye may be above red. I don't know, but and then blue is obviously guys who are late, guys who don't work hard, guys who are just going through the motions, guys who haven't improved their numbers, haven't for lack of a better way of saying this, improved their bench or improved their squat or seen any kind of marked improvement in they test them constantly with running and all that. Guys who just aren't seeing the results or aren't given what they consider to be a championship level caliber effort. So there's a few guys in that blue category, and you wouldn't expect them to see a lot of playing time. So at any rate, this was the top tier group, it seems like, and that's Cam Babb, who's been coming back, as we said, from knee injuries. Tommy Eichenberg, guy who's kind of a self-made man there at linebacker. And I thought by the end of last season was really starting to play some pretty good football. Julian Fleming, guy, as we said, who's been oft injured and could be poised for a very good season. Tyler Friday, to my recollection, Tony, I don't think he played at all last year. Is that right? Was he out all season?
He was out all season.
Another guy who's busted his ass to get back into the rotation. And, maybe he shakes some things up there on the defensive line, defensive end. Ronnie Hickman, who led the team in tackles and is getting that taste that, hey, you do that again, you're going to jump off and go play in the NFL. So to him, the carrot is being dangled out there. You've had one great year. You need to have another one, and then you can go get paid. And he's taking full advantage of it. Kade Stover is the ultimate program guy. He's yo-yoed back and forth between defense and offense. Jack of all trades, master of none, unfortunately, to this point in his career. And they got him settled in back at tight end. We'll see how much of a impact he can make at tight end. We saw him 2 weeks ago at the special skills camp they had for the special needs kids, and he's got his jaw set firm, and he's ready for this team to have a national championship type season here in 2022. And I think he's going to be a leader, I think, for this team. And I can't tell, we were debating this earlier, Williams lower left, is that Tyleek or is that Mayan? Is there another Williams? I don't know who that is, Tony. Who is that?
Court Williams.
Oh, good Lord, I didn't have it.
Good choice.
Good Lord. I didn't have either of, any idea. But Court Williams, yes, he's one of the hardest working guys. He says there, first guy in, last guy out. And, that effort needs to translate to production. In your second or third year, all that time you've put in, all that hard work that you've done to train and get ready to play football must manifest itself in tackles and tackles for loss and breakups and interceptions and special teams plays and everything else that comes with it, a block and a punt or something, whatever. I think Court Williams can be that guy. I just think he's stuck in a situation as probably the number 3.5 corner right now, if you figure he and Proctor may be bracketed at one of the spots. So he's going to have to fight for playing time again this year. because you think McAllister and Hickman are going to start at the other two spots pretty much unquestioned. So Court Williams is a guy that they're very high on, but that'll give you a sample of what Mick Maraudi, who spends more time with these guys than anybody, thinks about who the creme de la creme on this football team is in terms of off-season work ethic and preparing themselves for the year.
I think it's interesting that 5 of those names have all dealt with significant injuries in their time at Ohio State. 2 of them have dealt with position changes, and then you've got Tommy Eichenberg, who is just, just grinds and does whatever you tell him. He's a total football guy. And so they've seen all of the work that they rehab that has led to all of this. And it's just the guys that go above and beyond. I think Day said that there's a gold standard that is above the red. And then above that, there's the Iron Buckeyes.
Okay.
So it's like they've got tiers for all of these. And to address something that Sue mentioned, who's going to do the analytics on the Iron Buckeyes? Someone has to look back a few years and see how this designation correlates to production. Ryan Day was asked about that. He said there's a very high correlation. So when you've been named Iron Buckeye, it shows on the field that season. So I think everybody's interested to see what Cam Babb can do. Julian Fleming, obviously trying to live up to the hype of being the number 1 receiver in the nation, number 1 player in the class by, I think, ESPN. And, those 2 guys specifically are in an offense that can make that happen. So I think there's a lot of reason to be excited. Steve, you're mentioning the cynical nature of the message boards. I had somebody post on our board saying, is this Iron Buckeye thing, is this just a motivational ploy for some of the guys who maybe aren't working as hard as they need to be? I'm like, no, this is the exact opposite of that. This is the guys who are doing everything right, and they're being recognized for it.
Yeah, I think there is a method to their madness here that they have, as you mentioned, put 4 or 5 guys who've been through really, really rough stretches, some dark days in their football career already at Ohio State. I mean, Babb, he's had 2 or 3, 4 knee surgeries, whatever the number is up to, and had problems with it all the way back to high school. And I think there is a method to the coach's madness to say, look, if these guys have been down and out and still work as hard or harder than y'all need to be stepping it up, is probably what you healthy guys need to be aspiring to be in this group with these guys who have worked above and beyond to come back from some of the worst injuries and some of the toughest predicaments. It's one thing to get injured, to then rehab the injury, and then train to be a championship caliber athlete. It is a stage. You just don't go, oh, your knee is now back to where it was 2 years ago, and you are ready. You're not ready to go out on Saturday afternoon and play a football game. Now you got to go train. And I think that's what the message is here, that these guys have gone above and beyond to put themselves in position. And I would say all those guys are in the 2 deep. There's no doubt about that going into the season. Everyone, Babb, I think, has got to stay healthy to prove it. But I think the other 6 of them are certainly in the 2 deep.